Hey Cass, it's wonderful to see you here, and we've finally got a virtual coffee together.
Yeah, virtual coffee.
Oh, you got an enormous cup. Mine's half drunk already. I couldn't wait.
Exactly.
No, it's fantastic, Cass. And in this world of hibernation, spending a little bit of quality time, even though it is vicariously through something like this here, is gold. And thank you for doing that. That's just great.
Thank you. No, enjoying the virtual coffee.
Yeah, enjoy.
Bill, how would you define paradox, and how does this relate to leadership?
Cass, paradox is best described using a paradox. A good example of a paradox is a paradox such as cruel to be kind. A paradox is really a statement, I think, that contradicts itself when you first appraise it, but then when you really look at it, you realize that it's actually complementary. And so when we look at a paradox of, say, cruel to be kind, what you have is and think of a parent at home. You have a cruel potential way of operating at home. So have you ever seen a parent that's kind of cruel?
Or hard, or very strict, for sure.
Absolutely. So that's a cruel. And then on the other side of the paradox, you've got kind. And have you seen a mum or a dad that's just incredibly kind, almost to their own detriment?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what you have is you've got these two extremes, the paradoxical extremes, which when you bring together and you have cruel and kind as a way to operate together, you have the best of not only two worlds, because you have a cruel world, a kind world, but a cruel and a kind world. And what you have when you have that kind of sense about a paradox, in other words, a balance, and just another little segue, are you aware of the yin and the yang in the East?
Definitely.
So in the East, yin and yang is in fact paradox. It's paradoxical thinking, and paradox is the Western way of describing that, which is paradoxical as well. So when you have a person who's only cruel or only kind, they have one operating style. And so they become ineffective. They're using a third of their ability, in a sense, if you think about it. If you have a balanced versatility between all three, the beauty with that is you can move very, very easily between one, the other, or both. And that means you're using 100% of your emotional kind of capability to exude your presence. And that's called effectiveness. And in leadership and all that that's what you call executive presence or leadership presence. And that's what we're trying to do. Does that make sense to you, Cass? Have you seen someone actually doing that in reality and getting stuck in one of those zones?
It's funny, isn't it? You don't actually think, but it happens in so many aspects of our life, right? With, you mentioned the parent, the strict parent, the soft parent, leadership as well. I think if you can, flick between the two and merge between the two, that's the happy medium, right? Whereas if you're solely in one corner, it can be quite negative, quite disruptive, and vice versa. If you're in the soft corner, it again is not effective. So it's about being able to float between the two.
Exactly, Cass. And funnily enough, if you can actually put a word on what a cruel parent looks like, it's probably someone who's quite brash, harsh. You can put words to what that looks like. And a kind parent, permissive, lets the kids do whatever they like. You can see how that actually starts to kind of paint a picture. When you have the ability to move through that picture to either side of that and or together, then you're not labeled as anything in particular. You're labeled as being comfortable in all spaces.